You're listening to Savor on the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Will Smith, your host, and today my guest is Joey Repice of Joey's Hot Sauce. How are you, Joey?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
So good to see you. You actually visited us, I think, during COVID,
Yes,
so we actually weren't in person.
not eye to eye. The only time we saw each other was at the market.
Exactly. Well, that's something I want to talk about because you, I think, are the busiest guy in hot sauce in town because I run into you actually everywhere.
Yes.
And I think that that's something really unique about you and your products is that you are so out front and meeting
Oh,
customers
yeah.
everywhere. And I mention your name to people and they're like, oh, I know him. I know him. I know him.
Yeah.
So was that something that was kind of planned or is that really you wanting
Oh,
to
that's
connect
just
with
me.
people?
I mean, my father was the same way. We used to call him the mayor of West New York, New Jersey. When people he used to walk down the street and, hey, Giovanni. And so
So
I kind of
good.
have that same thing. You know, they knew him as the tailor and they know me as the hot sauce maker.
Right. What was the inspiration to start this originally?
It really started as a need for Lisa. Like she was doing like an elimination diet. Lisa's my wife. I'm
Yeah.
not sure if you knew that. So Lisa was doing an elimination diet and she couldn't find a hot sauce that had like no sugars, no binders, no additives, and no preservatives.
Right.
And she was like frustrated because her diet was pretty bland and,
Sure.
and she knew that hot sauce would liven it up a little
I
bit.
love that.
And I fulfilled that need because I just to take care of her, no intention of starting a brand. It was just really to make it for her. And then the next thing you know, we went down this complete cavernous land of hot sauce.
No, and it's I'm sure you've learned a lot over the past how many years has it been now?
It's been 5 years since we launched. It was
5
right
years.
during COVID. Like it's not the ideal time to launch a brand, but believe it or not, there were opportunities that opened up for us because of COVID.
Oh, I bet. And also having that a little bit of extra time in order to really devote yourself to
Yeah.
that. There's a lot of
Yeah,
things to figure out.
I was really fortunate enough that Lisa was like bringing home the bacon, so to speak, and she gave me the ability to just put 100% into Joey's to try to launch this brand, you know, from our bootstraps. We did a little crowdfunding to get it out, and once we had that crowdfunding, we looked at Oregon because we were living in California, and
All right.
we looked at Ashland in particular. Like we wanted to move here. We had friends that lived here, and we looked at ways that we can source the peppers, and we were able to accomplish everything we needed in
That's
order
amazing.
to launch the brand.
That's great to hear that dreams do come true. Things aligned for you that way.
Yeah, yeah. Like from like the Ashland co-op, they were really they helped me. Like the peppers got delivered there, and at first they were like smaller amounts, and I would go and pick them up and bring them to the commercial kitchen out in Talent before it got burned down.
So amazing. So tell us, what's the product line looking now? It's grown since 5 years ago.
It has. It has. Our son was born, Luca, the most amazing little bambino. So we had to make a mild sauce. We put his cute little face on there. It says Lil Joey's, and that's the mildish bambino.
Nice.
The original, sauce is Priscilla the Creeper. That's a nice solid medium. The 50/50 is a step up. It's a little smokier. It's got some smoked ghost pepper in there.
Sweet.
And I used to have a sauce called the Hellraiser, and it seemed to be not hot enough for those people who
So
really
amazing.
like it hot.
Right.
So I took it up a notch and was able to source some real super hots in there. And I got a mash that I do with my roasted, and that's the flamethrower. Lisa's sauce, which is called Lisa the Truffle Queen, that has real foraged black Italian truffles that I source right from Italy, and I grind those truffles right into that sauce.
That's my favorite.
The hot honey, it won multiple awards in Europe. It won gold. And then the Scovie Awards, it won, and that's something nationwide here, that won third place. For the Scovie Awards, it won first place in the hot sauce competition in Europe.
That's amazing.
And Priscilla also won that competition, and so did the flamethrower. So in Europe, the Priscilla came in second, and the flamethrower, it came in third. So we won 3 awards in that Europe hot sauce competition, which is pretty
Congratulations.
fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of manufacturers of hot sauce in this country.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big thing right now.
It is like probably the most bombarded field to go into, But the beauty, they always talk about what's a differentiator. And for us, the differentiator is that we're all organic ingredients,
Right.
And I roast and fire blazed. And it's always been more about flavor than it's been about like heat,
Right.
So that I always come out with a bunch of different local peppers and like limited runs during the season here. And that keeps people coming to the farmers markets. Like, I just love creating sauces that keep people excited and keep my creativity flowing.
Was that a challenge as you got started to find the raw ingredients?
Well, I'm at the farmers markets constantly, so I'm able and fortunate enough to have like Red Buttes and Intergalactic and Fry Family Farm grow peppers for me. So when our season kicks
Oh,
in
that's
here,
amazing.
they're basically growing. We talk about like what my needs are, and I'm getting all
I
the
mean, that is
peppers
like a
locally.
complete community that
Absolutely.
everybody helps each
I would
other
love
out.
to scale that part of our business. Like we're talking about growing, we just got into like 10 Safeway Albertsons as a test run.
Congrats.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you. And how do we scale that in the vision, keeping the integrity of the brand? And I'm talking to Patrick from Red Buttes, and I'm like, if I'm able to scale, do you have the land? And, he says he can totally do it. So
Very good.
there are going to be a whole set of different challenges,
Sure.
but
As you
I'm up
gear up.
for it. I'm here for the long haul. There's exit strategy for Joey's. I feel like we're really wanting to bring something to the market that's unique and flavorful and something you can trust. There's not going to be any, as like we say on the bottles, no BS,
Right. You're listening to Savor on the Jefferson Exchange. I'm Will Smith, your host, and Joey Repice of Joey's Hot Sauce is my guest today. What is the actual process of taking the raw ingredients, maintaining a recipe, maintaining the heat level? I mean, sure, that's a complete education there.
Yeah, I mean, as like different peppers, like different jalapenos vary at times in heat degrees. So you can have a recipe down in hot peppers and, you say 50 pounds of this, 50 pounds of that, and you have that same pepper quantities, but there's a slight variance
Just like wine.
yeah, exactly.
Year
There's
to
a
year is going to be different.
Exactly. And it comes from, for me currently, I source from organically grown. So I get it from Mexico in the winter, and then they come into California, which the prices are pretty astronomically high. They've grown so high over the years. And then the local, which I really love. That's my favorite part when we're partnering with the local.
Sure.
So the peppers do vary, from the heat temperature. And, I do my best at regulating.
Is there some sort of gadget that helps you maintain that kind of heat level,
No,
or is it
no,
just
not
you?
really. It's just me.
That's
Yeah.
so good.
Like I'll taste the peppers after they're roasted and I'll say, are these habaneros hotter than the last week's batch? And, and then we'll leave a tray out just in case it's too hot. So this way, then we can put that in like, a roasted tray of habaneros on the side, So we'll do that. And the color consistency too. That's another thing. People really love like seeing that consistency. They look at a product and they want to see that product looking the same all the time. And with me, there's a variance, because the sweet peppers come in yellow and orange and more orange and red sometimes.
Sure.
So since I don't put sugar, the sweet peppers become my sweetener. And the amount of sweet peppers we roast is pretty high. So it's really important for people to recognize that the fact that there's a slight variance in color tone doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the product. It's actually more that things are right with the product because it's a real product.
And
the color
that's
comes
part of
from
your
the peppers.
education for the customer.
Yeah.
I think all that wine and any kind of produce and there is a natural year-to-year difference, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think it shows testament to nature. Nature variances. When you go to see a tree with its leaves, it's going to look from year to year. There's different hues.
So, in addition to the co-op, Safeways, Albertson, how do people track you down?
I'm
How do people find you?
constantly at farmers markets. On Tuesday, I'm here in Ashland. On Thursday, Medford, and on Saturdays, I'm at the Grants Pass Market. And whenever there's like a special event going on at the expo or a special event going on like barbecue and grills, I try to stay on the pulse of everything that's going on in the valley so I can show a presence. I want people to taste the difference.
No, and I think that's what kind of sets you apart. I think there's a lot of business people that's probably their least favorite thing to do is to press the flesh and see people and be present and available to hear comments and questions. And I think that's really a huge part of your success, at least the way that I see it.
Yeah, thank you.
I
Especially with my mug being on the bottom. They see my face, and a lot of people are like, "Oh my God, it's the Joey guy." Like people know me in the valley through the product, and then when they get to see me, they're like, "Oh my God, that's you. That's perfect. It really does look like you." You know.
So what else do you have brewing besides the sauces and the honey?
Well, like I said, the seasonals will come back. This one particular sauce I make every year for Flespies, it's a bar out in Grants Pass. I get these Calabrian chilies that came from my cousins in Italy.
That's a great flavor.
They sent me over the seeds, and we're growing them right here in the valley. So we have these Calabrian chilies. We have these Jimmy Nardellos, black fermented garlic. It's one of my favorite sauces to make. We call that sauce the paisana. And that's like a fellow villager.
Yeah.
Because me and Nicole are like fellow villagers together.
That sounds delicious, especially black garlic. I'm a huge fan. And then I also purchased not so long ago some salts.
Yes, my hot salt is extremely labor intensive. I don't really like promoting it.
Okay. It's delicious.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it gets a little intense in the kitchen when we're producing it because just grinding it becomes airborne. Sure. And it's a little hard to do that constantly. So I don't really I have it at the farmer's market. It's in the hot honey. It's kind of a secret ingredient in the hot honey. And, I'll have like a small stash, but I try not to roll that out into wholesale. Sure. It's mainly something you can only find at the markets with me.
Any exciting events coming up for the summer that you're going to be involved with?
I'm doing 4th of July in Central Point. That's the one, the parade.
Okay.
I do that every year. That's been a lot of fun. They close off the streets, and then they roll into the little area where there's music and there's vendors. Right. And so that's a lot of fun. I do that every year. One year I had the cheerleaders do a Joey cheer. They had a cause, and I donated to the cause. I'm like, is it possible that you guys could do a Joey cheer? And they did, and it was really, really fun. Remind me of like Nirvana.
No, exactly. So great. Well, anything that's new and exciting that you are kind of planning that you want to share?
It's really like important for us to grow. I really want this brand to like grow. I think it's important what we're doing, what we're putting into the food space on the shelves. Marketed Choice has been really supportive. The fact that we have this opportunity to get into Albertsons and Safeways. It's a 3-month trial basis.
How did you go about that? Did they come to you or did you go to them?
It was really funny because I buy my organic apple cider vinegar through one of the Medford stores. After the market, I go and I buy the gallons of apple cider vinegar for the production. And Josh, I know the guy in the store, he's the assistant manager. And he was telling me, the big wigs are there. He was a little nervous because, the big wigs are working. They're just like looking at the store. And I was like, the big wig's here. So I ran to my car, I grabbed the card, and I grabbed, a couple bottles of sauce, and I approached the big wig, and I presented him with the sauce. And he was just like, he goes, "You sure you want to go through this whole process?" And the onboarding, when he said that, I had no idea, but the onboarding was like insane. Aside from that, it's been really nice to work with them. I gave him the bottles, and he was super kind. He took them. And I didn't hear something for a while, and then they invited me to like a garage, like in their parking lot. They had like a little internal gathering, and they said, "Would you like to come by and present it in front of everybody?" And I was like, "Sure." I got in my car, amazing. I drove up, and I got in their parking facility, and I set up a tent, and I was giving out bottles, talking to them, tasting the sauce. Right. And then they were like, "We really enjoy 3 of your sauces. We want to take on 3 of your sauces." And the guy, the big wig, so to speak, he told me, when he got home that day, he was telling his daughter, he's like, "What do you think about these hot sauces?" And she, I guess, goes to school here, and she said, Joey is like notorious here in the Valley. He's the best hot sauce maker ever. It would be awesome for you guys to take him on. So it shows a testament to all the groundwork I've been doing.
Exactly.
And yeah,
Unfortunately, that's all the time we have today. Thank you, Joey Repice of Joey's Hot Sauce, for coming on the show today. Joey
thank
Repice.
you, Will. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, so great to have you on. You've been listening to Savor on the Jefferson Exchange. My name is Will Smith, your host. You can find us at jeffexchange.org or on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Eat well.